It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories we're watching this Friday, a weekend, March 21. Malacanang says it has no information on reports that former President Duterte asked for asylum from China before his ICC arrest. This comes after a report that claimed Duterte's asylum request was rejected and that authorities have been preparing for his arrest since January.
Palace press officer Yusek Claire Castro says President Marcos is not seeking the resignation of Solicitor General Minardo Guevara. The Soldier earlier declined to represent government officials in petitions filed by Duterte's children, which questioned his arrest. According to Castro, Guevara still has the president's trust, and the gentlemen have already talked about the matter. The Department of Justice vows to pursue all legal options to extradite expelled lawmaker Arnie Teves from Timor-Leste. The DOJ expressed disappointment after the Timorese court denied the Philippines' extradition request. Teves is linked to the 2023 assassination of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo, along with a string of murder charges.
Around 5,000 Filipino and American troops will participate in Salaknib 2025 military exercises starting Monday, March 24. The drills will focus on territorial defense, sustainment, as well as humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. This year's Salaknib will run until May 3.
And the Presidential Communications Office has signed a memorandum of agreement with the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center to fight fake news and misinformation. PCO Secretary Jay Ruiz said the PCO will use a whole-of-government approach, work with Scam Watch Pilipinas, and will put into action fact-checking officers in all attached agencies. The agency also launched a media and information literacy campaign targeting the youth.
And joining us today is Storycon's resident political pundit, very generic, Tito Rol Llamas. And from the Philippine Star, Editor-in-Chief, Ami Pamintuan.
Happy weekend, Ami!
Happy weekend!
Happy Friday.
What is
Happy
your
Friday.
remark about her fashion statement today?
Wala.
Your typical
Wala,
remarks.
walang gulay.
Very chill lang.
Very chill. Oh.
Chill lang, di ba?
Makulimlim ngayon, makulimlim. Wala nangyayari, a slow day.
No, well,
Pero interesting naman
yung
hearing.
hearing, we were monitoring
ng fake news is also
the House
interesting.
hearing on fake news and misinformation.
May iyakan pa eh.
Oo nga
Actually,
eh.
for a moment, parang maybe this is going a bit too far. Pinapaiyak natin yung mga tao.
Buti hindi na ako pinatawag.
Bakit?
Vlogger ka
Iiyak
ba?
ka rin?
Dati pinatawag ako dati.
Social media personality. That's right. So this time around, what is this? Second or third hearing? Third hearing, Third hearing.
Third or fourth?
Yeah.
Third hearing ng disinformation, and finally some of the vloggers turned up. I saw Trixie Cruz Angeles, Crisette Laureta Chu, si Mark Anthony Lopez, si MJ Kiambao Reyes, sino pa? 8 of them, they counted. Nag-roll call sila. So 8 of them na binigyan ng show cause order last time. Finally turned
May
up.
threat of contempt na sila.
Yes. Actually, si Congressman Paduano was threatening them with contempt a few times today. Pati na si Congressman Benny Abante. It was actually quite a contentious hearing, I have to say. What did you guys think?
Well, napaamin nila.
Na?
Yung dalawa na pumunta ron, doon sa kanilang nilabas na mass resignation ng Philippine National Police na pinost nila dahil daw doon sa arrest ni Digong. So umamin sila na mali sila ron, apologize sila.
But you know, it struck me as, are they just apologizing because they're under duress? Or talagang...
Of course.
Yeah, because the congressmen were hammering on them, right? Halos hindi na makasagot kasi...
Hindi naman sila mag-apologize kung hindi sila tininan.
So is that really an apology, right? And also, may existential question si Ed.
Ano ka pinasa sa akin? Tahimik na nga ako.
Mabuti na yung kini-question lang sila kasi may inaresto ngayon yung NBI na vlogger.
Actually,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
may
that's
inaresto
another,
for altering a wire agency report daw yun.
for supposedly inventing a quote from the president. So,
Ano yung quote?
clearly,
Sabihin mo for the viewers.
The added quote was parang let's legalize drugs.
Oo.
Dun sa the end of the quote nag-insert ng ganong quotation,
Pero
which
paano
of
pag-
course is not true.
Pero paano pag sinabi mong it came from an unimpeachable source, no?
Na-
Halimbawa, yung sa GMA,
nagawa
di ba, sa
din ng
GMA7,
reporters.
yung report kahapon ng
Hindi, kung
GMA7.
journalist ka, merong vetting yan eh. There are
Yes.
several layers of
Yes,
vetting
exactly.
sa legacy media.
Yeah.
If you're a journalist, dahil pwede kang mademanda, pwede kang makulong,
Uy.
kailangan mong padaanin yan kung kanino. Meron niyang filter.
Yeah.
Ang social media problema, it's a purely unfiltered story. Pwede kang kumuha ng kung saan-saan eh. Saka, kuminsan, mali nga yung nakukuha eh. Tapos dadagdagan pa ng kung ano-ano, walang mag-edit. Yan ang problema.
Uy, Ami, Philippine Star was mentioned. Philippine Star was mentioned.
Minsan pina si Ami?
Hindi.
Fake news? Fake
Hindi,
news?
hindi,
Philippine Star?
At the start,
Cover namin yun.
nag-away si Congressman Marcoleta and, sorry, who was chairing it? Nakalimutan ko.
Paduano?
Si
Hindi,
Fernandez?
Hindi.
Si Paduano, no?
Dan
Galing siya sa
Fernandez?
vlogger eh.
I'm so
Tinatawag daw
sorry.
siyang demon.
I
Sabi ni
forgot.
Marcoleta.
Yes. So sabi niya,
Tinatawag daw siyang demon.
he was saying that the panel should have invited Philippine Inquirer and Philippine Star to the hearing, and he was very upset na wala daw representation from traditional media there.
Hindi naman kami imbitado.
So yun. Kaya,
Saka ulitin niya yung sinabi sa akin. Ay, after that, nagpa-advertise siya sa amin. Dalawang beses.
nagpa-advertise.
May advertisement naman pala.
Yeah, yung campaign niya, twice. Twice na siya.
Oh, so,
Kasi iba naman yung reklamo niya sa amin, hindi naman fake news yung sa amin, hindi daw siya hindi ba yun ang reklamo niya sa amin?
Yeah.
Bakit daw hindi siya nabanggit doon sa rally?
Oo.
Yeah.
Di ba naman yung reklamo niya
Oo
sa
nga
amin? bakit itinanggal daw
Nagreklamo.
daw na reporter?
Sa
Bakit
mga
hindi daw
complaining na
nabanggit
bakit
yung pangalan niya?
walong reporter raw ng Philippine Star sa rally, hindi naman siya nabanggit. Parang he was never
It's
there
not
and he
fake
never
news.
spoke.
and he spoke for a long time daw. Diba? Yun yung sabi niya.
Our point naman was, regardless of whether you spoke,
Pero ano ba yun? Fake,
we're
Kaya
not
tinanong ko,
required to
fake,
do it.
Baka
tsaka kaya nga,
influence
fake
sa
news ba yun?
rally.
Anong reklamo niya ron? Libelous ba yun? Na hindi niyo pinicture
Hindi
siya?
daw siya
That's also the other thing.
Misinformation.
If vloggers or people on social media call you names, they're not necessarily bound to justify their calling you names because
Yeah, that's freedom of
that's
expression.
freedom of
ha?
expression. If you want, you can file a case of slander or libel, but
I think demon is hindi naman yan
Hindi
considered
not literal.
na
It's not a
obscenity
literal.
or something.
Obviously, it's
eh.
not a literal allegation.
Halimbawa, pag may tinawag akong idiot sa social media, is that libelous?
Ako,
It
ewan ko,
could
marami
be
na
if
rin ako
you're
natawag na
proven to. You have to prove that you have no malice.
Ay, madali yun.
no malice,
Hindi,
ang
mahirap yun sa'yo eh.
importante.
Wala akong
Mahirap yun.
Wala akong
That's
malis,
very
ah.
hard.
That's the thing with
Pero
defending libel laws is
paano mo papatunayan ng malis internal sa utak
No,
mo?
no,
Yes.
no. Bok. No. In Philippine libel laws, you don't
sa libel,
have
it's
to
malice.
prove malice. You have to disprove that you had no malice. It's the opposite.
Baliktad.
Oo. Hindi siya
Parang
innocent
you're
proven
guilty unless proven
Oo.
innocent. Ganun.
It's
ano?
the
yan
burden
ang-
of
yun ang
proof is
libel.
on you as the accused
Kahit mali
in
yung
libel.
sinulat mo, kung hindi malicious, hindi siya libelous.
It's an unusual case with libel in the
Malis lang
Philippines.
yung importante ron.
Sa
Halimbawa,
US
may
kasi,
personal, mapatunayan na nagdemanda sa'yo, personal yung attack na yan sa akin. It can be malicious.
pero idiot ba?
Is-
Hindi, depende nga
So,
sa
ibig
paggamit mo
sabihin
ng
ng
salita
idiot,
eh.
ignorant.
Which is the negative.
Ano ba problema sa ignorant?
Sabi mo lang kasi challenge
What are you trying to say? Huh?
intellectually challenge.
It can go either way. It can go either way.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. That's true.
Okay, we have to
Let's bring in our first guest. Ay, first guest tuloy.
Our
Our
reporter.
Mojos.
Yes.
Our Mojo, si Mary Mon Reyes na nagtsaga na mag-cover ng Tri-Committee hearing on this information. Mary Mon, to begin with ba, what's the objective of this hearing? I mean, this series of hearings?
Yes, good afternoon. So far, itong pagdinig ng House Tri-Committee is to hopefully establish a legal framework and set a guidelines when it comes to regulating online content and to also set a code of ethics para sa responsableng paggamit ng social media.
A code
so
of
far,
ethics?
tuloy-tuloy. Yes.
Congress
so far,
will give us a code of ethics? Ganun? Okay. There we go. Okay.
Makipatawag ka.
Sige,
Malis.
sorry, go ahead. Marion.
Absence of malice.
so far,
Ay, nako, Mary
tuloy-tuloy
Mo,
pa rin
please
yung
ignore. Please ignore. Sige, go ahead.
Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung pagdinig ngayong araw and doon sa 18 personalities na supposedly ay hinainan ng subpoena dahil sa kanilang hindi pagsipot ng mga lumipas sa pagdinig. Ito yung mga humarap ngayon. Ito ay sila Elizabeth Joy Cruz or known as Joey De Vivere, Mark Anthony Lopez, Trixie Cruz Angeles, Crisette Laureta Chu, Dr. Richard Mata, Ernesto Abines, Aaron Peña, also known as Old School Pinoy, si Mary Jane MJ Quiambao Reyes, and Ethel Pineda Garcia. And so far, ilan sa mga napag-usapan na kanina ay kumbaga inisa-isa sa interpellation proper. Una, na-bring up yung kumakalat ngayon na fake news na sinasabing sinasakop na rin daw o sakop ng bansang China ang Luzon Islands and ang Palawan. And nung natanong dito kung ano nga ba yung masasabi ni Commodore J. Tariela, spokesperson to the West Philippine Sea, ang sabi niya first time niya rin daw itong nakita and yet again, another narrative na naman ito na kailangan daw na makombat. Kanina din, nung nagkaroon ng interpellation proper naman dito kanila Crisette Laureta Chu, ang pinaka natugis dito ay yung kanyang social media post around March na sinasabing yung napag-usapan dito ay tila meron daw mass resignation na isinasagawa mula sa nagagawin ng mga nanggagaling sa pulisya at saka si AFP following yung pagkakaaresto nga ng dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Pero nung kanina, nung inalam, binusisi ito ng panel, nagkaroon ng paglilinaw pinabulaanan nito ni CIDG Chief Police Major General Nicolas Torre na walang nag-file ng resignations following the arrest of President Duterte. So dahil doon nagkaroon na lang din ng paglilinaw itong si Crisette Laureta Chu na ginamit niya yung salitang daw to echo the general impression and not to phrase it as a news item. Basically, ang inaano nila dito pinapoint out is parang naging sentiment ito, expression ng tao, and technically an opinion. Pero humihingi siya ng patawad, hindi dahil daw doon sa kanyang pinost, kundi dahil hindi nagkaroon na malinaw na pag-iintindi sa konteksto ng kanyang pagpo-post. Nung nasabi naman kanina kung magpo-post pa raw ba siya ulit ng parang follow-up or follow-through na kinokorek na yung una niyang pinost online, ang nasabi niya ay maaari niya rin naman daw yun gawin. Nung dito naman kay Mary Jane Quiambao Reyes, ang pinag-usapan dito ay yung kanyang mga post online tungkol sa sinasabing massive hoax daw ang EJK death victims, yung tolls, yung bilang ng mga biktima. And nung binusisi naman kung saan ba nanggaling ang mga ito, halos hearsay lang din ang lumabas kay MJ Quiambao. Doon nagkaroon na rin ng tensyon sa pagitan ng panel at saka nitong mga resource persons. And doon nagkaroon na rin ng naging pag-iyak kanila Quiambao at saka kanila Laureta Chu. Ang nasabi dito ni MJ Reyes dahil daw natatakot siya na ma-detain or ma-cite in contempt. Pero nilinaw kanina na wala naman daw motion pa para doon. Kaya kung nagsasabi raw sila ng totoo, wala naman daw silang kailangang ikabahala. Another heightened moment kanina ay between Commodore J. Tariela at saka kay Mark Lopez dahil sa mga post ni Lopez na sinasabing lapdog, US lapdog itong si Commodore J. Tariela at dahil ginagamit daw ng Estados Unidos ang Pilipinas dahil sa intensyon nito pagdating doon nga sa West Philippine Sea or yung pananaw daw nito sa South China Sea. Pinabulaanan din ito kanina ni Commodore J. Tariela at nung nagkaroon ulit ng paglilinaw kay Mark Lopez kung saan nga ba nanggaling itong mga pinost niya online, hindi rin naging klaro. Kaya nagkaroon na lang ng pag-aatras doon sa conversation patungkol sa mga pinost ni Mark Lopez. Balik sa inyo.
Mary Mon, ang mas interest ko ay si Trixie Angeles. Dahil ito ay dating spokesperson ni President Bongbong Marcos. Ano yung kanyang naging role dyan? Ano yung tinatanong sa kanya? Dahil alter ego ito ni PBBM nung simula ng kanyang term. Yun yung pinaka-interesting dapat dyan sa hearing na yan.
O kanina, ilan sa mga natanong sa kanya ay kung kumikita ba siya sa pagpo-post niya online. Pero nilinaw niya na hindi raw siya kumikita pagdating sa paggamit niya ng social media. And doon naman sa mga pinopost niya online, ang sinabi niya, lahat daw ito ay pasok o sakop daw ng kanyang freedom of expression or speech. Kaya wala raw siya tila parang nilalabag pagdating doon sa kanyang karapatan na ito.
But so far,
Mary Moon, yung tong nangyayarin to, it's happening all over the world eh. Meron siyang yung debate, continuing debate, how much can you regulate social media, saka nga yung freedom of expression. May nabanggit na ba yung mga kongresista natin kung ano yung naiisip nilang measure para mabawasan kung na pwedeng gawin para matigil yung pagkalat ng disinformation, deliberate. Saka yun na nga, yung deliberate spread of fake news kasi pwede naman magkamali yung mga nasa social media din. Ang problema nga lang, kung talagang maliciously spreading fake news, may naiisip na ba sila na measure, na banggit?
So far, Ms. Ami, yung isa sa tinitingnan dito ay yung posibilidad ng pagbubuo din ng isang organisasyon katulad ng kapisanan para sa mga broadcaster pero this specifically ay para naman sa mga vloggers. So magsisilbi rin itong quality control measure para masiguro yung responsableng paggamit at pagpo-post ng content online. Yung ilan pa sa sinisilip ng House Tricom kanina ay pagdating doon sa tax policies, kung ano nga ba yung monetization schemes at programa na nakukuha ng mga content creators sa iba't ibang social media platforms na posibleng makaapekto sa kanilang pagpo-produce ng content. Bukod dito, isa pa sa tinitignan nila ay yung pag-heighten ng security and yung filtering sa pagpo-post ng content online. Nagkaroon kasi kanina ng representative mula naman sa TikTok nilinaw niya na hindi niya raw nire-represent ang ByteDance, kundi nire-represent niya ang TikTok to be specific. At naibahagi dito kanina na meron silang digital mechanism ng pag-filter ng content bago raw ito ma-upload online. Pero napakita kanina ni Congressman Benny Abante na marami pa rin na nakakatakas o nakakapuslit dito sa filtering system na to ng malicious contents, ng even pornography, explicit contents, mga pagmumura online.
Yeah.
Kaya ang nasabi dito ng representative from TikTok, willing daw silang makipag-cooperate at makipag-coordinate sa mga malicious contents na ito para raw magawa nila ng action either to take it down or para mas ma-filter pa nila yung mga susunod na content related or similar doon.
Right. But, KBP, Kapisanan ng Broadcaster ng Pilipinas, is a non-profit self-regulating body. Is the idea to set up something exactly like that or an agency within government? Ano yung idea nila for a body to oversee all of this?
So far, hindi pa malinaw kung paano yung magiging functionality nitong supposed group. Pero they are looking into a supposed system that would help cater doon sa yung lawak ng freedom of expression and speech nitong mga content creators. Pero this would also serve as a way na magkaroon ng standardized na sabihin na natin code of ethics na susundin nitong mga content creators. Pero kanina, wala pa kasi masyadong malinaw na sinasabi kung ano ba yung nakikita nilang solusyon.
Okay.
Pero ang tinitignan at sinisilip nila ngayon yung technicalities that could affect kung paano nga ba na-engganyo ang mga tao sa pagpuproduce ng content, whether or not it's misleading or if alam nilang misleading or disinformation ito, be it kung meron silang monetary gains na nakukuha rito or if it's purely by their own motivations.
pero to Reg's point, KBP is an association of broadcast companies and broadcasters. It is not a creation of government. It is not a creation of Congress. And likewise, the code of ethics of almost all the other media agencies and associations are not creations of Congress as well. So, I'm wondering lang, paano papasok dito yung Kongreso?
Gusto nila sila.
A code of ethics is voluntary. It's ethical. Hindi siya regulatory. No? So, yun ba ang gusto nila? Parang KBB style na bahala na kayo. Basta meron tayong kasunduan na huwag niyong gagawin ito. Pag ginawa niyo pa rin, hindi naman namin kayo papakulong. Dahil hindi siya regulatory.
So far, hindi pa yan natatalakay kanina, pero isa sa kinukuha muna nila ngayon na impormasyon o datos mula sa mga imbitadong social media personalities ay kung paano nga ba yung nagiging workflow nila. If at the same time, kung may monetization na nakukuha dito, ano nila behind such content creations and productions At the same time, ano ba yung regulation or regulatory measures na ginagawa naman ng social media platforms to guarantee user safety while not curtailing the freedom to create contents online.
Yes.
Because the Code
Okay.
of Ethics is basically moral suasion. Hindi siya batas.
Para kang BSP, moral suasion.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your reporting and insights. Mobile Journal, Mary Mon Reyes reporting from Batasan Pambasa.
Batasan. Happy weekend.
Salamat,
Thank you, Mary Mon.
You're watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news in the stories behind headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
And I'm Regina Lay. Still with us, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star and Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. And at this point, let's call in our guest. We have DICT Undersecretary Jeffrey Ian D. on Zoom. Welcome to Storycon, Yusek. Thanks for making time for us.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
Afternoon, Yusek.
Ronald, Ami, and Regina.
Uh,
Magandang hapon.
We were talking about fake news, Yusek, and disinformation. But I wanted to first talk to you about what you told me before about how you guys at the ICT noticed a jump in hacking attempts during the time of Duterte's arrest. Ano nangyari doon?
Correct, yes.
Tell us about it.
Pati daw ang Supreme Court,
Correct, no.
Yusek, tinitira.
Hindi naman. No, but for example, just to give you an example, since the time of the arrest of the former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, there was this person of interest, Santino, who has been trying to attack DILG-related websites. And then he's calling on other hacking collectives to join him or her. We don't know if it's a him or her. To attack DILG. Ang palagi niyang banner is pre-PRRD. Also, there is this Unified Cyber Alliance and Dark Army Cybersec group who is trying to promote collective hacktivism, trying to gain the support of the underground movement to attack government websites and to post. Sila rin yung gumawa ng defacement photo. It shows, it says free Tatay Digong, and then they're using hashtag #GovPH. Most of these attacks don't really go through, but some did. For example, there was a defacement in DA, some DILG websites, etc. No? So the answer is yes. There is a increase in cybersecurity incidents or cybersecurity activities targeting government digital assets since the arrest of the former president, including the ICT. I think our defenses always gets a trip, parang alarm of reconnaissance for the past few days because of this.
Yusek, isa sa pinagdedebatihan kanina sa TRICOM meeting ay yung kailangan ba ng regulatory functions para i-oversee itong social media or sapat na yung parang ethical suasion, moral suasion para sa kanila. Ano ba yung kulang sa ating cybercrime law in relation dito sa ginagawa ngayong mga hearing at investigasyon sa Kongreso?
Thank you for that question, Sir Ronald. No? The ICT has always been in the position that we need some form of social media platform regulation. The reason for that is because hindi natin sila makompel magbigay ng information o magkaroon ng tinatawag na proactive way of controlling the rise of fake news. I'll give you a very concrete example. There was a time, I think that was June or July 2024, when the voice of the president was fake. Mm-hmm. As if he is issuing a command to our troops in the West Philippine Sea, diba, to retaliate. Mm-hmm. It was fake. The office of the president announced it was fake. The ICT said it was fake. And it took us about 24 hours before it is taken down. So hindi siya proactive, reactive siya. Na-monitor lang namin. It just so happened na-monitor namin. And then we reported it to YouTube ang pinanggalingan. And then to Meta and Facebook.
Pero sir, what nature of regulation are you looking at? Kasi yung faking the president's voice and speech is one thing, pero
it's fake.
looking
Sinabi
into...
ng NBI, it's fake. Sinabi ng Verifiles, it's fake.
Yes, sir.
Meta refused to take it down. They said na meron namang attribution to a particular poster or to a particular group. And then it happened in the US, where libel is not a criminal offense. So they refused to take it down, but to be fair to Meta, they just put a label to it saying, this might be taken out of context, or it lacks context. Mm-hmm. But they continued playing that particular video. Pati yung sa China, that China owns Palawan. Hanggang ngayon, it exists in TikTok. And we have been telling, TikTok, you should take it down. So, absent a uniform code of regulations that the social media platforms should follow, this will continue unabated. Kaya we have to hold them also accountable for what they're doing. I know this is an uphill battle. This has been discussed in Washington. This has been discussed in the European Union. I know this is an uphill battle, but I think we also have the support of other governments regarding this problem. This has to stop. This has to be controlled.
Yeah.
Pero yun nga tatanong ko, Yusek, dahil iba kasi yung mga batas sa US eh. Diba? Yung freedom of expression sa kanila is very dominant. Lalo na ngayon sa panahon ni Elon Musk at saka ni Donald Trump. Diba? So,
Correct.
Anong regulatory mechanisms ang pwede natin gawin para i-mitigate yan? Dahil hindi naman natin sila pwedeng saklawin, no? So, within our limits, how effective can any regulatory mechanism para sa ganitong klaseng problema?
So, Sir Ronald, you're saying anong police powers natin? Kasi
Yes,
they're
yes.
American companies, right? Most of them
Yeah.
are American companies. One is allegedly a Chinese company. So, well, number one, we have the capability, but we don't do it because of the lack of a law. We have the capability to block them for a period of time if they're not complying. For example, Facebook can just, be not working for the next 24 or 48 hours if there is a law that says if you fail to comply with local laws, then you will be inaccessible in the Philippines. That's one. We can also do that for other social media platforms. But I think that's the nuclear option. Another option is just to tell them there should be a Philippine office here that can be held accountable and liable for for not following the law, including laws on taxation under the Internet Transactions Act, etc., etc. Kasi isa ngayon, puro marketing office lang yung nandito. And that's the reason why, pansinin ninyo sa Congress, Meta is not appearing. Kasi they do not have the power to represent Meta. Sinasabi na they're only a local marketing office. So these types of regulations can be put in place para meron naman din, we can hold someone liable. There is I'll give you another very good example para makita natin yung how it is becoming problematic. One particular vlogger, si Maharlika, I think her real name is Eden Contreras, if I remember that, has 2 warrant of arrests issued by a local court, by local courts, a regional trial court, on 2 counts of cyber libel. So therefore, on our law, not on US law, on our law, she's a criminal. She can post bail naman, no problem. But she has to face these charges. Pero her account continues in YouTube. And informally, we've raised this with YouTube, and YouTube is saying, we have our own community guidelines. And if she's not violating any of our community guidelines, just tell us what specific post and we'll take down that particular post because it's libelous. So it mga real problems on the ground that also inhibits us from enforcing our own laws pagdating sa social media platforms.
Pero having
Yung
one
mga
arrest
hacking
is one
attacks
thing,
nyo,
but
balikan ko lang Balikan ko lang yung hacking
Yes,
attack.
ma'am.
Meron ba kayong nate-trace na source nun? Kasi yung mga cyber experts, sinasabi nila, karamihan daw sa mga attack dito can be linked to China actually
Okay.
Meron ba kayong ganong
That's a good question, no, Miss Amy. Yung rise ng attacks during the Duterte during the arrest of former President Duterte can be traced locally. Some are coming in from foreign, pero nag-announce na yung mga Filipino, they may not necessarily be here in the Philippines, but they're known Filipino activists na sila gumagawa. So these are Filipinos. For example, someone called Klamrat, which we believe is not located in the Philippines, but it's very, very fluent in Filipino, by the way, was triggering attacks here, there, and everywhere. So again, under the guise of dapat palayain, no? Si PRRD. So these are all Filipinos. But ito na yung malaking but we also monitored persistent threats. At least sinasabi ko nung nagkita kami ni Ms. Regina, we also monitored persistent threat actors. Ang tawag namin dyan, advanced persistent threat groups. Magkaiba po kasi ang modus operandi ng mga state-sponsored or state-level type of attacks, which we call APTs. Itong mga APTs hindi nagpapakilala. They don't announce, unlike the activists. But we did also see an increased activity of APTs during this period. Feeling ko sumasakay. Kapag ka voluminous kasi ang attack, matatago lalo sila. No, so again, let me call out APT 17, APT 21. At least from its behavior, these are APTs 17 and 21 which are associated. I'm not saying it's from the I'm not saying it's from China, but which are associated with Chinese actors.
And then
Yung sa ano ibig sabihin ng APT? Ang alam ng mga tao rito ng APT, yung kanta niya na eh.
Hindi yan.
Ni Bru.
Sabi ko na.
Si Bruno.
An APT means an advanced persistent threat.
Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Persistent threat.
Ito po ang technical na termino namin sa mga attackers na learned. Yung talaga
Ayan, Leonard. Ayan, Ronald.
full-time silang walang silang ginawa kundi gumising, umatake, magpahinga, umatake ulit.
And then
Interesado ako, Yusek,
Wait.
dun sa state level.
Oo
Halimbawa,
nga eh.
meron tayong tensions with China sa West
Wait,
Philippines.
before we go to West Philippine Sea, yung attacks during Duterte arrest, what is ano yung end goal here? What were they trying to do? They were just trying to take down the pages. They were trying to
Yes.
disrupt operation. Ano yung end goal?
Well, the end goal to embarrass government. To say that government is walang silbi, inutil. Kasi ang sinasabi nila, halimbawa, makikita nyo naman sa mga post na yan, sabihin nila, ang alam nyo lang, wala kayong magawa kundi umaresto ng isang tao, di ba? Di nyo naman kayang depensahan yung sarili nyong bansa. Puro ganun.
Pero sir,
And then
specifically,
always yan.
yes sir, yung
They're
specifically sir,
always
yung
calling
APT.
on free PRRD.
Yes sir, specifically yung
FPR.
APT sir, yung APT, yung advanced persistent threats, during the time of the arrest of the former president, could you give us an idea by how much yung jump o yung increase ng activity, and more or less what kind of activity are we talking about? Also defacement ba? Also attempts to,
No.
or were these attempts to get into the mainframe
The
and so on down the line?
database.
APTs are always attempts to gain access to critical databases of government. And their target is specific. Their target is usually Philippine Coast Guard, OPD, ICT, law enforcement like NBI. Yan ang target usually ng mga APTs. So yes, there is an increase in APTs, but mahirap din sabihin yung increase because APTs, like I said, are persistent.
Yeah.
It is possible that they have been there for quite some time, lying dormant. And ngayon lang namin nakita yung activity because sumasabay sila, no? So, same as fake news. Dumadami din yung fake news na may kinalaman sa China, West Philippine Sea,
Yeah.
Palawan, etc.
Ayun.
Sumasakay eh. Parang nagtatago doon sa, how do you call it? Parang pinapalamanan mo. Di ba? Marami kang sahog. So, tinatago mo yung sarili mo sa loob.
Si Ronald had a question about West Philippine Sea.
Yes, dahil marami kaming karanasan yan dati. Dun sa civilian convoy. No, may website yan. Talagang ang daming attempts. At clearly, ayon dun sa mga IT experts namin, may mga may mga indications that all of this came from China. So, hindi ko alam yung mga Neanderthal ako pagdating sa ganyan. Pero,
Hindi ka learned.
Pero hindi ako learned. Pero yung mga Gen Z tsaka millennials, kabisado nila May mga binabanggit sila ng mga so, may ganyan din ba tayong monitoring, Yusek?
Yes, we have a National Security Operations Center now active with 32 agencies, including the Philippine Coast Guard connected to it and the Office of the President. So we can monitor. Magko-konting technical lang ako. Ang pinagkukunan mo niyan yung tinatawag na indicators of compromise. So I can invite you actually to our NSOC. Makikita mo parang nakamap saan nanggaling, paano yung method of attack, anong vulnerability yung in-attempt, etc. etc. So first stage, nakikita natin yung attempt. Ang nakakatakot nga, hindi namin nakikita So, after that, we manually verify after initial attempts. Last year, we monitored 5.4 million attempts to government websites. For this year, I think, dito lang sa Duterte, I don't have the exact figures right now, but dito lang sa Duterte issue, nag-increase na yung malicious attempts to 2 linggo pa lang nasa 80,000 na yung malicious attempts. So medyo mataas. But we're still trying to look into patterns. Pero yun nga, it's but we're defending. That's the good news about it. May lumulusot, may nakikita kayo ng post sa breach forums na may lumalabas. Tapos marami rin talagang fake news. Marami nagsasabi na kiniklaim nila na attack nila. Halimbawa, may lumabas na news, in-attack daw ang GCash. Tapos naka-ano rin, free PRRD. Nung binuksan namin yung file, 2021 data. Ibig sabihin ko sa former, naalala nyo yung may news pa noon dati na a subsidiary or a vendor, yung one of the data processors of GCash had a data breach. Parang ito rin yun inulit lang yung information. So a lot of this is also fake news.
Is
Pero
there,
Yusek, you can reassure our public na kaya niyong labanan yung mga yan. Will you have the capability? Kasi noon sabi sa amin ni Ivan, parang kulang na kulang yung tao to fight all these things.
Miss Amy, palagi naman kulang Kulang palagi ang pera, kulang palagi ang tao, kulang palagi oras. But what I can say is that we're doing our best and we are protecting the critical infrastructure of government as best as we can. And as I mentioned, less than 1% naman yung dumidiretso. But just be very, very careful. No? Yun lang din ang pakiusap ko sa media. Dati kasi nakaka-hype agad ang cyber attack. Let's just be very careful in claiming an attack. Kasi karamihan po sa namomonitor din namin, claiming an attack happened, actually never happened. An example, PCSO. Hindi naman talaga inatake yung PCSO. It was a email account of an employee. And then ang mga nakuha pa for Christmas party photos. So, it's PCSO was not attacked. Maybe an employee's mailbox was compromised. Personal mailbox. So these are two different things. And you know how it is with hackers. They wanted to what do you call that? Sensationalize the attempts.
Yusek, yung inyong capacity, nako-complement ba yung inyong wherewithal to do your job by our international friends? Are you at liberty to say that? Nakakatulong ba sila?
Yes. Thank you for that question. Yes, and I thank especially the government of the United States and the government of United Kingdom. They give us advanced, actionable, real-time information on what would happen, on probable attempts on against government sites, not only government sites, but sometimes against our fintech. If there are fintech targets, if there are bank targets, if there are cryptocurrency targets, they give us actionable intelligence. So the answer is yes.
Yung China, hindi tayo tinutulungan. That was
walang
I don't know with
joke,
DFA.
Yusek.
Then may cooperation, di
there's
ba?
no agreement. I don't think there's
We have a
agreement.
cooperation agreement with them,
Meron
di ba?
ba?
Yeah. No, I'm just a very practical person. No, I don't know with DFA, but my desk as your cybersecurity chief DICT, my desk has not yet received such information as of this moment.
Okay.
Ayan.
Sir, pahabol lang.
Okay.
Just to qualify, so you're looking at some sort of SOCMED platform regulation, not
That's
SOCMED
correct.
regulation. I suppose kasi there's a difference between the two.
Yes.
Yes, we wanted a SOCMED platform. We wanted this to be platform-centric.
Yeah.
So we wanted the platform to do better in proactively implementing our own law. Ganun
Okay.
lang. Actually, ang may model na yan, Singapore. Example sa Singapore, pag sinabi ng kandidato sa eleksyon, hindi ako yan. Wala nang niha, wala nang community guidelines, wala nang investigasyon. You are ordered to take it down.
Yeah.
Kasi sinabi na niya, hindi ako yun.
Yeah. So it's fake.
Pero Yusek, hindi pa ginagawa ng ngayon ng Meta. Marami na silang tinake down for coordinated inauthentic behavior. Meron ganun you can actually send complaints to them na itong grupong to, ganun-ganon.
Yes
ano
naman.
pang pwedeng idagdag doon?
That's correct. Pero the difference is right now, we're under their community guidelines. And so, it's up to them whether they will take it down or not. Yung binigay ko example kanina, yung sa Polvoron issue. Pero kapag kasi meron tayong batas at sinabi natin, we're saying this for national security, ito ang guidelines dyan, ito yung batas dyan, you take it down.
Yeah.
Pero
don't have a
eh,
choice.
Yusek, anong epekto dyan nung bagong policy ng Meta na tinanggal na nila yung kanilang karamihan ng kanilang fact-checking system?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So,
Bago
pero
na eh.
meron pa rin content moderation. So, tinanggal nila yung fact-checking. Ibig sabihin, okay lang mag-post ka ng kasinungalingan.
Ay,
Yeah.
Pero may content moderation pa rin. Ibig sabihin, meron pa rin rules against hate speech, discrimination, harmful behavior, fraud, under the rules na lang ng Facebook. So, hindi na nila, parang sinabi lang ni Meta, it's very hard to check if you're factual or not. We don't care.
Yeah.
What we do care is that if your speech is hateful, discriminatory, or was fraudulent, parang gano'n.
Okay. We'll leave that there. Thank you so much for your time and your insights today.
Thank you.
DICT Undersecretary Jeffrey Ian D.
Thank you, Yusek.
Thank you,
Sec.
Sec.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
You know, Ami, you made a good point kasi there are community standards on Meta, pero the issue there is yung decision-making process nila. Nawala si Ami. Where's Ami?
Kinuwot mo pa naman siya, no? Minsan, i-quote mo rin ako.
Hindi ko malalim. What did you say ba?
Bakit umalis?
Ayan.
Ami.
Ami, you're on there, ha? Baka
Okay.
Isa-side kita.
Oo nga, yeah, I can hear you.
Kasi
Yeah.
Ronald, kulit ni Ronald.
Ano masabi niyo
There was a good point about yung community standards ng Facebook. The issue right now is yung decision-making process nila on what gets taken down and what doesn't is very opaque. Nobody has any access to that outside of them. So yun nga, like
Actually, pati mga Duterte supporters nagre-reklamo doon, ha?
Oo.
Yung opaque system,
Dati naman ako, na-take down ako dati.
take down ka. And then sometimes, pati yung obviously fake, like for instance, I was selling something online and then a scammer reached out to me, ni-report ko na scammer, nandun pa rin siya. He wasn't taking down. So, it's very arbitrary, is what I was
Akin,
trying to
never
say.
pa nangyari yan eh. Dahil wala akong Facebook,
Ayun
wala
lang,
akong Instagram, wala akong kahit ano. So, never pa nangyari.
Nagtatelegrama pa yan eh.
So, bakit hindi ka
Nagpupunta
nag-recuse?
siyang PTNT.
Ayun, may phone ka at least.
Magpapadala ako Hallmark greeting card yun.
So it's...
People don't know what that is, ha?
Oy,
Yung nga, hindi na naman.
but you know, there's a disconnect here kasi as far as the ICT is concerned, social media platform regulation ang kailangan. That's the gap in the law. What they're doing at the House right now is geared more towards
It's content regulation.
content regulation.
Content
Which
regulation.
is different, two different
Yan
things.
ang problema dyan.
Sometimes they disagree with the facts, sometimes they
Mahirap
disagree
yan,
with
oo.
opinions.
Yes.
But
Yes.
everybody's entitled to their
Mahirap
opinion.
yan.
Yeah. I think
Kasi kahit yung criticism hindi kakapareho nga yung may mga congressman na galit sa amin dahil hindi nababanggit yung pangalan nila. Ayun, re-regulate ba nila yon, di ba?
Yes.
Di ba medyo mahirap, medyo it's a slippery slope, napakahirap mag-regulate ng content on social media.
Yes.
Sa broadcast siguro medyo madali kasi ayan na nga, nasa screen, it's recorded, madaling makita. At saka pwede mo sabihin, napapanood kayo ng mga bata, hindi kayo pwede magsabi ng ganyan.
Yes.
Hindi kayo magpadala ng ganyan. Pero yung sa SOCMED, ewan ko kung paano gagawin nila dyan.
and also, as Ed was saying, do you really want the government to be
To tell you what's
To-
ano, to tell
Yes.
you
what's
what's
right and
Yes,
wrong?
exactly.
Right?
Big brother.
They do that naman. They tell us what's right and what's wrong.
Big
But you want
brother.
them to be imposing their version of right on you and say this is the only true news. Everything
Yeah.
else is fake.
Yeah.
Because all
Kaya nga,
administrations
tinatanong ni Ronald,
have
can he use
tried
that word? Di ba?
to push their own
Eh
narratives.
sa amin, okay lang sa amin yun.
Do you want them to be the arbiter of truth is the question. And I don't
Pero
think...
government ba yan? Dahil halimbawa, naka-attend ako ng isang forum 2 years ago ng mga social media IT firms. Sabi nila, ang crucial dito is big IT. Dahil sila yung merong wherewithal para gawin yung ating hinihingi.
Big tech meaning Facebook, Apple, Google, yes.
Yung government mo, limited yan eh. No? On the other side naman, ang sabi nila, wala tayong magagawa dyan. Hindi gagawin niya ng IT. So, ang magagawa natin is also to weaponize this technology against those who are using it for bad.
Yes.
So, ganun yung debate nun. Dahil nga, ang tingin nila, government can only do so much.
But I agree
Yeah.
to a certain degree, the platform company should be held liable for their content, right? Which is what's missing, and which is what Mark Zuckerberg has been
Yeah.
fighting all along. Because for them, in the name of free speech, it should be, all open, self-regulating, right? But
Siguro for accurate reporting lang, medyo pwede na siguro yung ginagawa ng Singapore. No, yung to a limited extent na kapag proven na mali yung sinaano nyo, paki-take down nga yan, you have to take it down.
Or
Di ba?
Pero may pagkakuan yun. Iba
Kaya lang, medyo mahirap
iba yung political system ng Singapore.
Regulation, lalo na
Ayun na
yung
nga.
worried about freedom of expression
oo, but yun na nga, I mean,
You were there.
Ronald is correct. Iba din yung form of government nila, so they can impose that. I mean, technically, on paper,
Yes.
democracy pa rin.
Pero
Pero,
matindi ang parusa ron.
Saka
May-
napaturusahan.
may-
Iba tingin nila sa
May
Iba
dagdag
tingin
yung,
nila sa media.
May pahabol yung dati naming website administrator sa PCIJ, si Marco Sigera. Matagal na tayong powerless over platforms. Dapat talaga pinipressure ang platforms via regulators, especially sa taxation side. They make so much
Yan.
money from video ads. From us, Filipinos watching everything. We should demand minimum compliance to certain regulations. Dapat meron din silang liaison for law enforcement issues sa Pilipinas.
yes. I mean,
Siguro yun
that's
ang
logical.
doon, minimum compliance.
Oo. Especially because they profit off the
Yeah.
fake news, right? Which is maybe
Yes.
why they don't want to take it down. Yung post na sinasabi ni Yusek D, for instance. Ano yun? Yung, yung Palawan. Palawan being part
China
of
owning
China,
Palawan.
yes. I mean, they
Ay,
still...
ano yun, pinick up yun from China, di ba?
Oo. So,
From China,
Pinick up yun
social
from
media.
Chinese,
It went viral. So, I mean, that's
It went
eyeballs.
viral.
That's a lot of engagement for Facebook, right? So, wala silang
Yes.
incentive to take it down. But that is all the time we have for today.
Wala pa yung announcement? Wala pa yung announcement?
Oo, meron na daw eh.
Wala pa. Meron na ba? Wala pa. Naghintay pa tayo.
Okay, we're waiting for an announcement from...
Let's not say na lang. Ang announcement, happy weekend. Ayun.
Big announcement later. Thank you so
Hinihintay
much
din nila Ami yun.
for joining Storycon today. Ami Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Ronald Llamas, a resident political pundit na wala sa Facebook. Happy weekend. Join us again on Monday at 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lane.
I'm Ed Ligao. We are one news all sides all the time.
At least message.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.